Hey guys, what's going on? Hope everybody's having an awesome day. No time like the present. Capture it. Um, Welcome to Too Many Convos with Kenny Too Many. I'm your host, Kenny Too Many. And this is episode one. Episode one, we're going to discuss grief, grieving, and basically dealing with death. Um, Heavy kickoff to a series. I get it, but I think this will be good. It's going to be a therapeutic experience, I think, for myself. It could be for others, discussing kind of the different types, um, keeping the memory alive, coping, a little bit more sharing. And hopefully, this helps other people who are potentially going through something fairly terrible in their life, if I'm being honest. Um, a little bit of a funny thing to start this off with. I just spent about 30 minutes recording this video, and I went to go edit it, and the video editor software that I also record in, go figure, crashed, and it's all gone. So this is I guess you could call it take two. Um, I mean, you could call it that. It literally is take two. But the reason why I wanted to do this is my father passed away July 29th, 2020, at the height of COVID. He was only 55 years old. And it was a car accident. So it was very, very sudden. And it changed my life. My father was the best man I've ever known. He was everything to me. He was everything to a lot of people, but he was really everything to me. Um, and I always cap it off when I say it, but he was legitimately my hero. He was actually my hero, and it's changed me in my soul dealing with him passing. Um, and I know I'm not alone in that. And I'm hoping what I talk about and how I cope and whatever, this may help other people. Maybe it doesn't, but maybe this is just kind of a call out to people to say, hey, you're not alone. There's other people dealing with the same terrible stuff. And maybe that'll help somebody feel better. And maybe we can connect. Maybe they would create this community of support because you're not alone. It is terrible, but it's not always dark. It's always going to be a part of you, but you can make that part of you positive. You can help it, you can foster it, and it can help you grow. It will never go away, and you will cry 10, 20 years down the line potentially. But you make it part of you and you own that. You can be better for it, regardless of the circumstances. Now, obviously, there's different types of grieving and whatnot, given the differing scenarios, who passes, who's dealing with the grief, how it happened, actual way of death, I guess. Um, Sudden things like heart attacks and car accidents, age, um, all depends uh, and all changes how a particular person or persons deal with the grief and in trying to heal. Um, Obviously, having someone you love suddenly ripped away from you is horrible, and it's way, way more difficult to calculate and understand and the whys. I still ask why. We still don't have answers. I still ask why to this day. And then you have the other people who have to watch someone they love waste away due to whether cancer or whatnot. Um, and that is equally as horrific and horrible. But that doesn't change that it happened, because it happened and it's over. And now we need to heal and be better and figure out the ways that we can do that. And sometimes it's easier than others. I've lost a few different people in my life over the years, grandparents, etc. And they were upsetting and I cried and whatnot, but nothing held the weight that obviously losing my father did. Um, um, and there's different ways to help people and cope with those things. And honestly, on some of the lower level ones, my grandma, it's just hanging out with my family and sharing memories and whatnot. Whereas losing my dad, I there's a lot more that I have to do. Like you get to the point of therapy and whatnot, and it's the differing types will change how you deal with it. And you just need to realize that and be also maybe not retrospective, but you need to look at the perspective of what you're dealing with and how you deal with it. Um, and the people who want to help people who are also dealing with it, um, your friends or family or whatnot who are helping you heal, they also need to understand the perspective of what happened and how you're going through it to then help you. So it's really just trying to make sure you understand um, the ins and outs, not to make it sound technical or complicated. Um, I have a couple poems that I would like to read. I know it's kind of corny, but one's pretty short and simple. An eternal memory until we meet again. Those special memories of you will always bring a smile. If only I could have you back for just a little while, then we could sit and talk again just like we used to do. You always meant so very much and always will do too. The fact that you're no longer here will always cause me pain, but you're forever in my heart until we meet again. That's just a simple one. It's sort of corny, but it's simple. It's to the point. You lose someone you love, or that affected you in any way, shape, or form. There's always going to be a piece of them every time you think about them, or you share a memory, you see a photo. But it doesn't change that they were a part of your life, and they're inside your heart, as well as, I mean, depending on your beliefs, you will eventually see them again on the other side, so to speak. This one is a big one that they're probably going to make me cry. It made me cry in the first take, so it's probably going to make me cry in this one. It's called "When Tomorrow Starts Without Me." Um, this one I would read and or listen to. I hate to say when I want a good cry because I know it triggers it, but that sounds really weird. But sometimes it's good to get a good cry out, and it definitely reminds me of my dad and the feelings that I felt immediately and still feel and struggle with, but I also embrace. And it goes, when tomorrow starts without me, and I'm not here to see, if the sun should rise and find your eyes all filled with tears for me, I wish you wouldn't cry the way that you did today while thinking of the many things we did not get to say. I know how much you love me as much as I love you. Each time you think of me, I know you'll miss me too. When tomorrow starts without me, please try to understand that an angel came and called my name and took me by the hand. The angel said my place was ready in heaven far above, and that I would have to leave behind all those I dearly love. But when I walked through heaven's gates, I felt so much at home when God looked down and smiled at me from his golden throne. He said, "This is eternity, and all I promised you. Today, for life on earth is done, but here it starts anew. I promise no tomorrow, for today will always last. And since each day is the same exact way, there is no longing for the past. So when tomorrow starts without me, do not think we're apart. For every time you think of me, remember I'm right here in your heart." That's by David M. Romano. I apologize. I knew it would. Um, but things like that lead me to my next point is keeping their memory alive. Feeling these feelings, sharing the memories, pictures, re- re- reliving things in therapy, talking to people, sharing stories, continuing traditions. For instance, I took over Christmas Eve. Dad was always a big Christmas Eve guy. He had the big thing. We do all presents, and it was this thing when we always looked forward to. It was one of my favorite days, just like the July 4th parties he used to have. My favorite days of the year. Um, Not just erasing all that stuff because they're gone and you don't want to remember it and you don't want to feel bad. But guess what? Nobody wants to feel bad. But you need to remember it. And you need to keep those memories alive. Pictures everywhere, knickknacks, just videos and pictures and posting them. And I hate to say reminding the community like, hey, this great man lived and he lives on. And I need to remind you of that. That's keeping their memory alive. And I think it's key when someone's that important that you lost, that more people than just yourself lost and loved, keep their memory. Sorry, I'm all flustered. Keep their memory alive. And then we go to coping. There's good coping and there's bad coping. Obviously, you want it to always be good coping. Um, and I don't want to shine a big light on bad coping, but I mean, people go through a terrible time and they get to a dark place, and you and think drinking and drugs and sleeping and depression and it happens. It absolutely happens. It happens to the best of us and it happens to the worst of us. But it's pulling yourself out of those dark moments to do something positive. Um, I remember after it happened, um, I ran a lot, so I kept my workout regimen up, and there would be times where I would run 6 7 miles and I would cry for half of it, but I did it, and I get the endorphins pumping and my heart rate up, and I somehow feel better. I mean, that's scientifically proven, but you do feel better. Um, the other thing is, as I have 2 books here. And they're basically journal entries, but they're not journal entries in the traditional sense. This one's full, and this one's partially full. You can see the top there, but I'll show you this one. Essentially, they are journal entries, but they are journal entries not in the traditional sense where you're sharing things. These are written specifically to my father. Um, Morning, Dad. Morning, Dad. Another busy day. Morning, Dad. Miss you and love you so much. And I started getting to the point where I end them all now the same. Um, Miss you, love you, talk soon. Or I love you and I miss you very much, talk soon. But everything says talk soon because I do talk to him. I talk to him in my mind. I talk to him in my dreams. I talk to him out in the ether, so to speak. And I talk to him here. And look at this, all of it. And this started in November of 2020 till now. And I did that to take over from the fact that I was texting his cell phone all the time after he passed. That was how I was dealing with it. This is a very similar fashion to this. But then somebody got his phone number and, excuse me, somebody got his phone number and responded, but then never responded again. So I thought it was super awkward. I was like, I'm just going to stop this. I keep all the text messages because I want those memories. Um, but I stopped. And that's when I started on this. And this is incredibly therapeutic. It helps me. I can go back, I share it with other people. I can go back and share it with myself. Um, and I truly shine a good light on that as a positive coping mechanism. Um, and just talking to people, whether it's therapy, friends, family. I talk to my wife, I talk to my kids about it. Because it all happened to all of us. We're not denying the fact that it happened. And talking about it helps make it easier. Um, One of the things before I want to wrap up is the repercussions of death, both on a wider scale, I guess, um, and just to be prepared and to understand that things aren't always great after somebody passes. Obviously, not from an emotional sense, but the logistics of somebody passing away creates a big void, both in a family sense and in like a life and world sense. Um, whether it's like if somebody retired, we're talking somebody who's young, we're talking children, we're talking like my father, an important person in the community, both professionally and personally, leaves a big gap, which also creates a lot of fissures in relationships and differing items that allow people to show their true colors. There are people that I no longer talk to. There are people who have been alienated. There are people who have left. There are a lot of stuff gets stirred up when someone important passes or when anyone passes. And it's just to be mindful that, hey, you're going to be sad and it's going to be awful. You're going to get through it. But to keep your head on a swivel, to know that it's not just going to be the emotional impact of losing someone that you're going to experience potentially. It can be a lot worse. I still deal with a lot of the emotional stuff. I feel like I got a grasp on most of it, but there's a lot of logistical stuff that we're still dealing with from the passing of my father that is just not fun and terrible. And I know a lot of people have dealt with this just based on conversations I have. So it's not out of the ordinary, but it's just to say, like, losing important people brings out people's true colors, amongst other things, um, both friends, family, etc. You never truly know. And also, pay attention to the kids. I'm almost 36 years old. People are paying attention to me, obviously, my uncles, my aunts, and brothers, sisters. But I have kids. I've got two little girls, and Papa was one of the most important, if not the most important man besides me in their life. And they lost him. I have nightmares and relive having to tell them that he was gone. And we still have moments where we struggle with it and they get upset and we have to talk things out. But just because kids are young and resilient doesn't mean they don't need every single bit that you're going to give yourself and others in this given the same situation. It's very important. Everybody needs to heal together. But you need to, first and foremost, you need to take care of yourself, because if you don't love yourself and you can't, and you're not healthy, you can't love and be healthy and help other people be healthy and happy if you're not doing it for yourself first. Is, I guess, the best way to say it. I kind of talked that in a circle. Um, and kind of wrap up. This is dedicated to my dad. My dad, Ken Norberg, 6'5", 65 to 729, 2020. Um, I love him and I miss him with every cell of my being. I got some pictures. This is us putting the flooring in my old townhouse. This was at his 50th birthday party. One blast. Uh, one of our many, many skiing trips. One of our many, many Patriot games. And these two are particularly important to me, because he took me to see the Patriots in the Super Bowl. They lost. It was in Minnesota, but it was a life-changing moment, that I will never, ever forget. And just to wrap this up, if you know somebody who's going through something, and dealing with the death of a loved one or whatnot, don't be afraid to reach out just because they're not being receptive. They need it. Lend a hand, just a kind word, lend an ear. Um, Whether they're receptive or not, or they're standoffish, please do it. They want it, whether they're going to admit it or not. I know, I know because I did it. Um, Knowing someone's there for them is 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 amazing, and it means the world to them, whether they are receptive to it or not, or they show it. Secondarily, don't feel bad about reminding them that someone they love is gone by sharing memories or whatnot. If they're going to cry, they know. They know. They're living with that. In my opinion, I think you're actually helping because you are sharing memories that maybe they don't have. When my dad's friends and coworkers would share memories, they're memories that I don't have with him, but they're memories that they have with him, that he had. That's his life, that they are now sharing with me. Does it make me sad and upset? Absolutely. But they're showing how much of an impact he had on other people. And that means a lot to me, and it means a lot to those people going through it. So don't feel bad. Times are going to be tough, but memories, keeping the memory alive is huge. Um, I hope I hope this is helpful. I hope this is good. Like I said, this was take two. Hopefully, this doesn't crash again. I appreciate anybody who watches this, shares this. Drop a line if you need help or reach out. You are never alone. Whether it's me or somebody else, you are never alone. My socials are down there. I'm willing to help in any way, shape, or form that I can. You're not alone. Everything's going to be okay. There is light at the end of the tunnel. And I appreciate you, and anybody else who's watching this. This was episode 1. This is Too Many Convos with Kenny Too Many, signing off. Have an awesome day, and really seize it. Seize the day. It's yours.